Hello and welcome to the latest captaincy video and podcast of the 2022-23 season. We're going to be looking ahead to game week 12. There's a slightly fewer fixtures this week. My name is Joe, and joining me to pick someone else rather than Haaland for the captaincy is Tom Freeman, Fantasy Football Scout's Deputy Editor. Tom, welcome. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks, Joe. Pretty average game week for my own team in 11. I think I ended up on 47 points, but we're now straight into blank game week 12 and a Tuesday deadline, so all good.
Great. Just before we move on, we're going to have a look at the fixtures. And it's really exciting, this captaincy, because we're not going to mention Haaland at all. So who will we mention? So before we do that, I understand you've got a word to say about one of our partners, Spitch, I think it is.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so Spitch, for those not aware, is a fantasy game where you effectively kind of have a free chip to play each week. You build a new team every game week, and it's got an interesting scoring system. It rewards passes, tackles, shots on target, that kind of thing. Now, Mark, he puts together our weekly picks on the site. He actually had Doherty and Saka and Dallow in last week, so did pretty well. And the game week 12 picks will be at pre-deadline on site, so have a look at that if you want to play a fantasy game which kind of complements FPL.
Okay, excellent. Well, thanks a lot for that. Just before we move on, just want to welcome those that joined us early in the live chat. We're recording this on a Monday because the deadline is Tuesday. So we usually do this on the Tuesday. We're giving people a bit more time to consider the captaincy and some of the stats that we've got that we'll go through. So welcome Jacob, Kev, Moshi, Corey, Mr. Blackhand, Geo Boys, Field FPL, and many more. Thanks so much for joining us. Do remember to press subscribe so you can keep up to date with all these videos and podcasts, but also do press that like button as well. Really helps us out, and that would be great. So let's have a look at these fixtures. So it's game week 12, and we'll see something very notable about this is that Arsenal and Manchester City aren't playing. So this is once again, I thought this season would be okay for the end to surprise postponements, but there we go, Arsenal, Man City. But that doesn't mean we can't consider the likes of Jesus, particularly Haaland, De Bruyne, Foden, Cancelo. None of these people we can consider for the armband. But I've got a picture of Trossard up here from my team, Brighton, so a bit of bias. But Brighton are top. I didn't do this. This is you. Fantasy Football Scout gods did this. Brighton have the best fixture because they're against Nottingham Forest at home, and they're considered a good fixture there. Southampton have a good fixture. I'm not sure we're going to captain anyone there. Newcastle could captain someone there. Villa, your team as well, against Fulham, one of the worst defences. So you could be an option there. Solanke at Bournemouth's got a good fixture against Southampton. Tottenham and Manchester United, they're quite low down there. But of course, Mohamed Salah for Liverpool, he's just coming into form, isn't he, Tom? I mean, he's got to be top choice at the moment, I would think. But you know what? Would you say that looking at these fixtures, was West Ham an okay fixture for him?
Yeah, I mean, I think if we're simply looking at fixtures, I think it's got to be that Brighton fixture against Forest, hasn't it, Joe? Because Forest have switched to this kind of new 4-3-3 formation. They've only conceded 2 in their last 2, but they've actually played Villa and Wolves in those 2 games, the 2 lowest scoring teams in the division. So I think we can take that with a bit of a pinch of salt. Dizabi's still looking for his first win, but they had a lot of the ball against Brentford, didn't they? Created a lot of chances. They just lacked that composure in the final third. So I think that's the fixture I'll be looking at. Beyond that, it's actually quite tricky because there's a lot of blue on that ticker, but they're not really from teams we're going to look at for captaincy. No. You have to go quite far down to see Liverpool. I'm looking at Salah this week like everybody, but I don't think it's a great fixture. I think West Ham have been very good throughout the season defensively, even when they haven't been getting results at the beginning of the campaign. Had Maddison been available, I actually think that's quite a nice fixture for Leicester.
Yeah, it was my sort of bus team captain until he got the yellow card in the 94th minute.
Yeah, I mean, not because Leeds are particularly bad, but I think they commit bodies forward regardless of their opponent. And I like that when you're looking for a captain. So, yeah, it would be that Brighton fixture. I'd be looking at if we're simply going on fixtures.
Yeah.
But obviously, I'm not quite there with a Trossard captaincy just yet.
No, I've got the vice captaincy at the moment on Trossard, but
Oh,
Mohamed
okay.
Salah is my current captain. But we'll come to our top three picks a bit later. I
Yeah.
just want to point out, De Zerbi is one of those that had a press conference already. He said that Adam Lallana will play. So there's speculation who he will come in for,
Yeah.
and obviously everyone who owns Trossard thinks it's going to be him. But it could be anywhere. He's a central midfielder, so it's likely not to be Trossard.
Yeah, and Gross was taken off at the same time as Trossard at Brentford on Friday, wasn't he? And he's been talking up Trossard quite a lot since he came in, so that would surprise me if it was for him.
I would say it would be one of the more central midfielders. Could be Gross, or Trossard could move to left wing back, which is a possibility. Who knows? He has played up front before, and so you never know. That's the beauty of the team that he's inherited from Potter. They can play in all sorts of positions. But
absolutely.
I mean, I would feel confident if you want to captain him. Let's have a look at these worst offences. So this is the last four, but as you suggested, there's some caveats there. So you look at this, and quite low down is Nottingham Forest. They're in terms of expected goals conceded, just 4, but they have conceded 9. So that would suggest they're better than they are. But from what you were saying, you think that you feel fairly confident that Brighton, whoever plays, will score against them.
I think so, because you have to look at opposition with these tables. I really like looking at them because it gives you a real nice overview of what's happened of late. But if you've played Wolves, Villa and Fulham in that time frame, then that's going to impact it, obviously. You've got Man United, again, as one of the worst teams there. But that City game, when they lost 6-3, distorts it massively. I guess I'd probably say half of that XG total was probably accumulated in that game. And if you take that result out, Ten Hag and Man United, since that Brentford loss, have actually been pretty good defensively. And that's what's maybe holding me back on a Kane captaincy this week. I still think he's one of the better options, but I don't think it's a straightforward fixture going to Old Trafford.
Yeah, I mean, what I do like, I don't own Kane but myself, but if I did, he would definitely be in the conversation. Because what I do like about him is the consistency, and it just takes a penalty. It just takes an assist for a Son counter-attack. One counter-attack all match. Son could score from that. Kane could assist him. And you could be looking at a really good result there. So that's why I think if you do own Kane, I think you should really consider that. I think I definitely would, but I know other people aren't.
Well, I think a lot of people are in a difficult position, including me, Joe, because we've got Kane, we don't have Salah, and he's the obvious player to lose to raise or put more money into your midfield. But it's very hard to lose a player who hasn't blanked since game week 1. It's not a great fixture this week, but it wouldn't surprise anybody if he goes and gets a goal there. So it's really tough. It's a tough week this week, and captaincy is included in that too.
We've also highlighted West Ham here on this table. The second best expected goals conceded, only marginally better than your team, Villa. But once again, we've got to talk about, it's the last 4 matches. This indicates their form, but you also got to take into account the opposition there. So West Ham only conceded 3 goals though.
They have been good. They have been good, Joe. No team has scored more than 2 past them in a game this season, and they've played City, Spurs, Chelsea. They've played a lot of the top teams. The only thing against them right now is they had quite a few centre backs out at the weekend. They had Zuma out and Dawson. Aguerd out long term, so they actually went in with Johnson and Kerrer at the back of the weekend, which against Southampton is fine, but at Anfield against Salah, Darwin, Firmino, it might be more difficult for them.
I mean, just coming back to Salah just for the moment, with that incredibly fast hat-trick he scored in Europe, and then that goal against Man City was sensational. I mean, really Alisson did all the work, but for Salah to take the composure to do that, that reminded me of the Salah. That's the Salah I haven't seen for a good few weeks, or maybe months even. So that's what I feel. I feel no matter how how good the defence is, someone like Salah is special, can get past them.
Yeah, I think you're right, Joe. You would expect Liverpool to score a couple past West Ham, albeit a good West Ham defence. It's at Anfield. You know, they caused the best defence in the league, City, a lot of problems on Sunday. Yeah. So, yes, they've lost Jota, but still there's enough good attacking players in that team to cause West Ham problems. And Salah's looked great in the last couple of matches.
Bowen could be an outside shout. Liverpool, one of the worst defences of the last four. But hopefully for them, they'll tighten up. But their expected goals conceded of just over 7. They have conceded 6. But they have got a couple of clean sheets there. But it's Fulham who are the worst defence last 4. And they're often up here. Expected goals conceded of 9. They've in fact conceded 11. No clean sheets. They're against Aston Villa. So in a week where we don't have Haaland, are you tempted to go for Watkins?
No, because the problem is we can't score ourselves. Right. So we went to Forest the game before last and faced another team who were giving up a load of goals, and we only got one past them, and it was a long ranger from Ashley Young. Okay. And I thought we were much improved against Chelsea. We were really unlucky not to score, but it's hard to know. I don't think Gerrard knows his best 11 at the moment. He went with Bailey, Ings and Watkins yesterday. I think he'll continue with that, but then you've got Coutinho, you've got Buendia that we might turn to. So I don't really think there's a reliable captaincy option in that Villa team, and that's the problem.
Okay. This is probably the only week where, as a passing thought, we might go with Aston Villa for the captaincy. But once Haaland's back, obviously, we're not going to be looking there.
Business as usual.
Business as usual. But there were, nevertheless, plenty of players outscored Haaland in game week 11. Yeah. So it shows there is value for going against the herd.
Yeah, and we'll talk about it, I think, at the end if we touch on game week 13. But somebody else has a very nice fixture too.
Definitely. So, we had some comments. Here is Moshi in the live chat. Hi, all good to see you all. Will we have another captaincy video before game week 13? No, we won't, but we will talk about the captaincy in game week 13 here. There are plenty more videos and podcasts later in the week, though, including the Scoutcast tomorrow. So we'll talk about all of that there. But we will talk about the game week 13 captaincy, so bear with us. So let's have a look at the captaincy comparison. Most attacking players last 4 matches, just to see what the sort of player form is. This is good. I mean, this is there were a couple of players above Trossard, including Bailey there, but I removed them because I can't see anyone captaining Bailey, whereas Trossard is in people's thoughts.
Yes.
Kane is top. Expected goal involvement of well over 3 over the last 4 matches. Same with Wilson at Newcastle. Tony, Bowen, Maddison are sort of next best. Then you've got Salah, 5 chances created, 4 shots on target. Expected goal involvement 2.56. Your man Watkins there, that's why I mentioned him. Expected goal involvement just over 2, so could be an outside shot. Mitrovic, his last 4 matches he's played, so I know he hasn't played recently, so it's not 4 game weeks, it's last 4 matches that he has played. He's had 6 shots on target, 2 chances created. Almiron at Newcastle, the 5.2 million midfield budget enabling sensation, 2 chances created and 5 shots on target. And then Trossard there is 8 chances created, 5 shots on target, expected goal involvement of just under 2, so 1.78 there. A lot of options are in form though. But when you look at these names here, I mean, does this say, Salah's the one, or do you think actually I could go for Kane, I could go for Trossard?
Well, I think that for Salah, there's obviously been this role change in their last 2 games where Liverpool have been playing a 4-4-2 against Rangers and against City, and that's meant Salah's actually been taking up more of a central role. And that's obviously impacted him because he's looked a lot better. He scored a hat-trick against Rangers. He was unfortunate to only get 8 points, I thought, yesterday, wasn't he? He had those 2 big chances. He scored one of them. But if Darwin would have had a bit more composure, he was in acres of space at the end as well, wasn't he? So it could have quite easily been double digits for him. And so I think that Salah's obviously moving in the right direction on this table now. Now, I don't know where he's going to play on Wednesday because Jota's out. So you'd expect Carvalho maybe to come in on the left, but then you'd expect Darwin to come back in at the weekend. So does Darwin partner Firmino and Salah goes back out wide? Or, I mean, if he goes back wide, that's not ideal for us, but he does create more out there and he's still on penalties. So I think he's still a good option. It's just a bit up in the air where he'll play. Be good to hear from Klopp pre-deadline, see if he can shed any light on.
He could also change formation mid-game as well. So Salah can, if say Firmino went off or Darwin, Salah could move more centrally.
And I find it dangerous trying to predict that. I think I'm going to presume that he's going to be playing central, high up the pitch. Because it's hard to read, it's hard to know what Klopp's got in mind. But so Salah's moving in the right direction. Kane, it just shows to show how reliable he's been, though, doesn't it, Joe? I mean,
definitely,
9 goals.
Yeah, I mean, this is great Kane, isn't it? He's creating, he's shooting, he's on penalties, he earns penalties. Son earns penalties for him. This is. It's everything you want, and we've only got four game weeks left, and Kane's not really a part of my plans, my structure.
No,
but
it's hard to get in.
But I sort of wish he was.
It's nice. It's been really nice owning him because he has just been that consistent. Neil ran the FPL review on Saturday on site, and Kane's actually played 38 league games under Conte now, and he's got 37 attacking returns in that time since his first game under Conte, which is just incredible, really. 6.3 points per match, and that's why I'm finding it so hard to lose him this week. But needs must. Well, needs must, and I think I need a captain. And
luckily, all my players are injured or suspended, so
I quite like it when it's like that.
I don't have any problems. Let's have a look at our top 3 picks. I'll get you to go first. Do you want to read out your picks, especially for the benefit of those listening on the podcast, and why?
Yeah. So number 1, Mohamed Salah. We're seeing signs against Rangers, against City, that he can step up in game week 12. Not an easy fixture, but the 4-4-2 looks good. It's on penalties. It's a difficult week for captaincy, and I think I'm gonna go for Salah. It feels like the right call. So he's number 1. Number 2 is Kane. Great consistency, as we said. If you don't own Salah, that's where I'd look. And number 3, I've actually put Darwin in there because whether or not he's good or bad, he's involved. And I mean, even in 25 minutes yesterday, he racked up 3 shots, 1 big chance, and had a bit more composure. He would have got the assist for Salah as well. And it's risky, this one, but I think he starts. And we've seen in his limited time on the pitch how many shots he racks up when he's in that team. And so that would be a differential pick for me as a captain. I think
if I was free hitting, he would be one of the top names I would get in. Because I don't think I want him long term, but for this week he looks good. Even though we were talking about West Ham's defence, but just for a one-off captaincy while Haaland's not here, and I think he could be a very good shout there. So I mean I've got Mohamed Salah first, second Harry Kane, so won't dwell on that. Very similar reasons what you said. Third, I've gone for Trossard. I was going to captain him this week, but I just feel that Salah's return to form in the last week or so has just been enough to convince me that, and he is, he's been so reliable in the past. Trossard has been quite handy for these when you need him for the captaincy. I think there was a game against Newcastle or Leeds, I can't remember which, last season.
Newcastle,
where it was a similar week where there wasn't a sort of a standout captaincy pick, and he fitted in there. Where he'll play, I don't know. I would imagine, they need to score goals. He is their best player. It's obvious. He's their best player. He's excellent in front of goal. So you would expect him to play and do well. And as you said, the Nottingham Forest defence, despite what the recent stats say, could be a good match for them there. Okay. So we had, as we said, we just before we go, we'll have a quick look ahead to game week 13. So I've got a picture of Haaland back up because we'll probably all be considering him. Best fixtures though, I mean, there's a lot of blue here, but Man City against Brighton, and Brighton, we're talking about Trossard, the defence, they just can't keep a clean sheet. And I don't think they want to. So I just think after that, on the back of that Liverpool loss, and I can just see Haaland and co running riot here.
They tend to do well against your team as well, don't they, Joe? So,
there's been a couple of times where, I mean, I think there was a time where we got beaten by them, but like 1-0 or 2-0. I think it was in a cup game, and but it was close. But yeah, nevertheless, still got beaten. Best fixture though is West Ham against Bournemouth, but I mean, I don't know about Bournemouth. Their defence seems better than they ought to be.
They've done well under Gary O'Neill, haven't they? Considering what a mess they were in when he was appointed as caretaker manager, I don't think he's lost yet, and he's just tightened them up. And it's so yeah. I mean, that wouldn't be. I don't think I mean, Bowen isn't a bad shout because we think he's on penalty. Well, we know he's on penalties now, but I think there's other good options. I think that Haaland at home against Brighton, and I think if Salah has a good match against West Ham, I think him going to Forest, I think he'll be a popular pick too. Although Haaland will be rested, which is going to count in his favour, isn't it? Obviously, City with the blank this week. So, but those two would be the two that I'd be looking straight away.
Yeah, Salah against Nottingham Forest.
If you want, if you're looking for a differential, maybe Saka at Southampton, who's in great form at the moment, playing really well on penalties. I think he's got 4 goals and 4 assists in his last 7. But there's some good fixtures at the weekend. I'm looking forward to 13.
Yeah, I mean it's brief looking at game week 13, but as you can see here, we've got a lot of choice here. Haaland will be inevitably quite popular, but I think some people might get. I wonder if his effective ownership will be a bit lower than we've been used to. He would have been taken out by some people, I think, so that they can get a reasonable squad for game week 12 out. But also, I think people might have seen, oh, hang on, he blanked against Liverpool last night. Maybe he's not invincible, and maybe Salah, maybe Bowen, maybe we can go elsewhere. So.
People react, don't they, to what's just happened? So if given that Haaland blanked, albeit against Liverpool, if Salah bags a brace in midweek, I think you will have a few people looking at that and giving it a bit more thought than maybe what we are at the moment.
Okay, excellent. Well, thanks so much for joining me, Tom. Good luck with your decision to not captain Haaland this week. And it sounds like Salah's the one that you're looking at. But of course, you do have that Kane option, maybe if he's still around in your team. Salah's the one I'm going for, but I think Trossard's really good, and I do think if you've got Kane, I think you've got a captaincy shout there. So, but thanks a lot, everyone who's joined us, and good luck with all your captaincy decisions. Remember, it's deadline on Tuesday. So we've got a deadline scoutcast. Myself and Karen are going to be taking you through to the 6 o'clock deadline, and I might even take a hit just for the thrills. Okay, thanks a lot, everyone, and take care.
Cheers, Joe.